All right, here we are. Okay, so today was a range day. It's September 21st, 2021. I got to move pretty quickly. But yeah, definitely a range day. So hopefully you drew your overnight highs and lows, and that really would have helped you find these bottoms down here and up here. Um, there were a few entries. Mac was saying that yesterday he didn't see a lot of entries. I thought there were a lot of entries yesterday. I guess I was playing it like a range. Yeah, and that's what I will say. The trends yesterday didn't have a lot of good entries, but the ranges did, I thought, anyway. So, anyway, in the overnight, we trended up. We had a break, and we started going lower. And I know that there's a ton of people who probably got trapped going short here. To be honest, maybe, look, because it looks like a first, second entry. That does look like one leg up of correction, though. This looks like the second leg. So I didn't even think about that earlier. Not to mention the fact that we're a little bit away from the EMA. But that is the second entry. Yeah, it looks like one leg up. So wait for that second leg. You can see this midline is working. So we get this congestion. This is a first entry. This looks like a second entry to me. This looks like one leg up. We come all the way down here, and then we make another leg up. So I think that's a second entry short. And it takes, does it take a while? 76.50. So yeah, no, you get your scalp pretty quickly. But it turns into congestion, and it did. Also, it is a first failed second entry long. So the fact that those are combined helps you out a little, but you're not looking for failures and congestion. And this is a doji, and at this point, you get this bar overlaps, and this one's a doji, so you got to be careful. And that turns out to be congestion. That would have been the beginning of it, but yeah, it turns out to be congestion. We come down, and what is this? It looks like a first failed second entry long, and it's off the trend line. So I do like that, and look at that, great move down. We get a break of that, and yeah. So guys, prices are just chopping around. This is off the midline, it looks like. So we make this one leg up, and then we make this second leg up, and at this point you can see that off these lows, if you drag it to the highs, this bounce worked. So there were a lot of people who were probably taking this channel and thinking that prices were going to keep going up just because they had confirmation. But then you get the overshoot, and Mac was saying this in yesterday's video, but I didn't really understand it. But then I'm watching prices print, and I had this aha moment. He was talking about, you get that overshoot, and then you get this failure here. There's a good chance prices are going to break the channel and go lower. And I took this trade because I had that aha moment, especially since we didn't really get much of a confirmation of this trend line. But you do get a nice first, second entry here, but there's just no signal bar. This probably trade of the day. You could have rode this down. You're not getting a runner stopped out on this one. So here we kind of make matching highs, and this kind of looks again like a first failed second entry long, but really it's just a lower high off the trend line because we're not looking for failures and congestion, and this isn't a new high. So that ends up being a really good trade as well. And we get an overshoot of this downward channel, and that eventually that forms congestion and leads to a break. But when we get this overshoot and then this sharp leg up, and we correct, and boom, make this really bearish signal bar, even though they're all dojis right here, I think you have to go short there. It's off the trend line too. Then we come over here and we make this first, second entry. That's aggressive. It's above the EMA, but it looks like prices are turning down at that level. That's why I like that. So this is a new high, and that's a first failed second entry long. I like that entry. Here we get a first, second entry, but that's just that signal bar is no good. I put the square there because if that was a good signal bar, I would have went short there. And that ends up being a really good move. So we come down here, we break through the overnight lows, and we get this double bottom, and prices start to reverse. So we get this one leg up. This looks like a second entry failure, but that's highly congestive. So, and turns out we bounce again, make that second leg up, and we form this congestion here, and you get a second entry long. That's very congestive, so I wouldn't be going long there. We hit the measure move and we go a little bit further, and that's at the opening price, and we don't make it to the top of this channel, and that probably is what leads to this break. And you get this failed second entry long right here, but it's a doji and it's in this congestive area, so that's very risky, and I don't think you should take that. That's a double top, so first failure right here, but those are dojis stacking up, so I didn't like that. And I don't think I have my trend line drawn. If you had your trend line drawn, you might take that. Let me put an aggressive mark right there. And that's a new high because that's a double top. First entry. This is actually a failure, but that's way too congestive, and I think I went short there. That's too congestive. Here you got a second entry short. That bar is too big for me. That's 19 ticks, too much risk. But that's in a big bearish engulfing bar. I think that's going to work. Here we form this congestion after a move down. So unfortunately, this counter trend breakout, we don't get a new high, so we can't go short there, unfortunately, or else I would really like that. And then here we start making this leg down. So I really like this. I entered here. Yeah, you get a first entry, failed second entry long. It's aggressive because it's a bit away from the EMA, but I like that entry. And then we form this spike into this channel, and when we make this new high, first entry, second entry, it's aggressive. Signal bar's not great, and but yeah, it's also a higher low off the trend line, so that's another reason I like that. And then it just forms congestion, really. So when we get this first entry, we get a break, an attempt at a new high, and that's a failed second entry. I like that. And that forms this spike in channel that brought us into close. So that's what I saw for today. Let's quickly review my trades, and then I got to get out of here. I got two nice trades early in the morning, and I should have walked away, but I didn't. I still ended up in the positive, so I'm not too upset. But yeah, I took this second entry, and look, the doji turns out to be congestion, so watch out for that. So I think in the future, I don't want to be taking something like that. That's definitely congested. That's 3 bars overlapping, and this is a doji. So too aggressive. This is a great entry right here. It's a first failed second entry, and this, I didn't have a runner on this, but you would have gotten a big move. Big move. So I really like that entry. Should have just walked away at this point, but I decided to, I don't know what I was thinking, just sitting at the computer, and I took a first entry long. And I have a very low win rate with my longs, so I don't know why I would take a risk like that. So first entry, failed second entry. This is congestive, and it's in this recent congestion. So I don't like that, but it turns out to be a really good move. But if you had your trend line drawn, maybe you would take this on a first, second entry short, maybe. So that's too aggressive, and it's congestive, taking a failure in congestion. Here, first entry, it went higher and then broke lower. So that's a second entry, but it's just too far from the EMA. It's also first failed second entry long. It's too far from the EMA, and this is too congestive to take any entry, really. Look at all those dojis stacking up. And then here, I really like this failure. First, second entry, failed second entry, and that's clearly a channel. So, all right, so those are the entries I took, the trades I took. I'll be back tomorrow. I hope everyone had a great day. See you tomorrow.